Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, A Tale Told Through Time by Lewis Carroll. It's no use going back to yesterday, because I was a different person then. Alice. 150 years ago, Charles Ludwig Dodson rode in a boat with 3 young girls, Alice, Edith, and Lorena Liddell. During this trip, he told them a story about a bored little girl named Alice, who followed a white rabbit into a place called Wonderland. Alice Liddell enjoyed the story so much that she begged Dodson to write it down for her. The very next day, he decided to do just that, under the pen name Lewis Carroll. The story describes how Alice follows a white rabbit down a hole in a mystical land. While there, she encounters mystical and unique creatures, such as the Cheshire Cat, who has the power to shapeshift and become invisible. He seems to know all about Wonderland, but will disappear suddenly, leaving behind only his grin. She also meets the smoking caterpillar, named Absalom. Upon their first encounter, he proceeds to be curt with Alice and questions her, asking, "Who are you?" Because she does not know how to answer the question, she decides to continue her pursuit of the white rabbit. During her time in Wonderland, she also meets the Mad Hatter, a quirky character, and has a tea party that is not quite like the one she's accustomed to at home. It's during this part in the story that she finally catches up with the rabbit and quickly realizes that Wonderland is a bit more filled with nonsense than she thought. The rabbit nervously looks at his watch and runs off yelling, "No time!" which she has seen him do a lot. She decides to follow him and finds herself in a garden where she stumbles upon playing cards dressed as guards. They are painting white roses red. As she stares at them, the queen approaches, a woman feared for her temper and for screaming, "Off with their heads!" at anyone who dares to defy her. The queen proceeds to invite Alice to a game of croquet. It is during the match that the Cheshire Cat reemerges, and the queen sentences him to be beheaded for stealing her tarts. Alice decides to attend as a witness and is called to the stand. While there, Alice notices that the jury is composed of Wonderland animals. During her testimony, the queen realizes that Alice is in fact her pie thief. The queen then proceeds to sentence Alice to be beheaded and orders the guards after her. As they begin to fall upon her, she wakes up and realizes that she was never in Wonderland, but had in fact fallen asleep under a tree and had dreamt it all. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland is my favorite story because it shows how far the imagination of a child can go. It is a timeless read that has inspired generations and will continue to do so throughout history. I have read it multiple times, and I find something new each time I do. It has motivated me to use my imagination, and I saw myself transformed as a young girl into Alice to escape the realities of my real life. The creation of technology has influenced how the story has been told across platforms. Disney was the first to capitalize on this by creating an animated film that brought to life our favorite Wonderland characters that we have all grown to love. In 2010, Tim Burton partnered with Disney to create a film inspired by the classic novel, but told it in a dark fantasy style that Burton is known for. The film starred Mia Wasikowska as Alice and Johnny Depp as the Hatter. It was shown across the US and Europe and generated a revenue of $1.02 billion. The classic story has also inspired several novels, such as Splintered by A.G. Howard, a story that follows the descendants of Alice Liddell, a young girl named Alyssa Gardner, who fears inheriting the same mental illness that caused her mother to be in an asylum. As her fears increase, she is kidnapped and taken to Wonderland. Another novel also inspired by the original is The Looking Glass by Frank Bador, a secret history and sequel to the original story, which counts the tale of Alice Hart meeting Carol and recounting the story of how she is the true heir to Wonderland and has been cast out by her evil Aunt Red. The story has gained so much popularity that video games have been produced and inspired by Carol's original version, such as American McGee's Alice and Disney's Alice in Wonderland for Game Boy. The film and books have achieved such fame that you can now find promotional items and merchandise inspired by your favorite Wonderland characters. Although the story has been told in many ways, forms, and shapes, from movies to theater, games, art, and television, the main element has remained the same. It is still the story of a girl who chases a white rabbit into a world of adventure and meets extraordinary creatures on her journey. Thank you for watching, everyone. The end.